What a start it has been to the new Rugby Nations Championship. This new competition that was questioned before it kicked in this year and will continue for the next every 4 years. Uh, but there were questions about how it would run with this northern versus southern hemisphere battle in rugby. But these nations have definitely entertained, and we have had a lot of exciting rugby over the past weekend. So today, from Forecast Sports, I, William, am going to run through the biggest talking points in this Forecast Focus episode from me, and I'm going to bring all the biggest news that has occurred. But to kick off, we have to talk about, with the talking point of this podcast, New Zealand versus France, where New Zealand, under their new coach Dave Rennie, were looking for, first of all, a good start, which they got, but also fans were hoping to see their new style implemented within this game and see a bit of a glimpse of the combinations that would grow with under this new leadership of this All Blacks side. Obviously, they won 34-32 in quite a tight encounter, but we definitely saw some really good positive results for both sides, but then also negatives as well, which are always occurring when a new lot of leadership come in. And when, for France, they do not have their big guns for them in New Zealand. Now, obviously, Dupont wasn't there for France, so that was a big miss, but they didn't miss a heap because they had Luku, their second halfback, who plays for Bordeaux and performed pretty fantastically. This guy is, if Dupont wasn't there, would be one of the best international rugby players in the world. But because Antoine Dupont takes up most of the minutes for France in that number 9 jersey, Luku is not allowed a lot of success and a lot of opportunities within at halfback for France. So these sort of matches are great when Dupont isn't there. And we definitely saw the combination, the Bordeaux combination of Luku and Jalibert really stand out for France, and those were possibly their best two players, plus also Broare, who was their centre, and he was really exciting to watch. But I think those three were their best players overall, although France did really put in a big effort within their team. Now, moving to the All Blacks, well, their style they implemented, we saw it straight away. They wanted to show a bit of that hurricane style of rugby with a lot of speed, a lot of offloading and ball movement, which Ruben Love brings to the table. That's why he is the best to start at 10 for the All Blacks. But we definitely saw that speed and a little bit of ill discipline, but overall a real exciting sort of rugby, positive rugby that is always trying to move forward. Dame McKenzie and the likes of him and a few others were given the allowance to play freely within the match, and that's the key to unlocking the success within a lot of these All Blacks players, is letting them play their game. And we saw a lot of those kick passes from Dame McKenzie. They were really quite interesting. Not the solid sort of movement we often like to see under the black jersey, but Dave Rennie is wanting these players to bring out from within them those X Factor sort of moves that they can bring, and we'll definitely see that in these future matches from Dane McKenzie and Ruben Love, who like to play around and produce a lot of interesting moves, which can turn out on the other side, but we definitely often see benefits from them having the full reins of the team. Also, it was their start. The All Blacks had a really messy start. It's possibly the worst start to a coaching tenure. First 10 minutes, as France scored after a terrible mistake in defence from the All Blacks. Geordie Barrett was left in no man's land as Dane McKenzie rushed out of his line, and it put Dane Pinot straight over the try line as he found a massive hole in the All Blacks defence early. But we expect that when the All Blacks do have a new leadership under them, and it's just about creating those combinations and being able to combine together, a bit of that communication. But then also Ruben Love got yellow carded straight after for a head high, and we saw a bit of ill discipline like this within the match. But that was the main issue for the All Blacks, their ill discipline. A lot of penalties going the other way. But that really put them on the back foot early. But they seemed to scrabble that up pretty quickly and tidy up their side. And it was a bit scratchy, bit of a scratchy performance from the All Blacks. But we did see some good signs from them, and they definitely looked good against, and to come out on top against a really good French side. Can we even call them a B team? Because they do stand up for big occasions, every player on that side. So it was a big win for the All Blacks. Some overseas from Europe were saying that the All Blacks performed disappointingly, but I don't think they did, in the case that they had this new leadership, new players, new sort of system that they were playing under, is never going to work out straight away. And we may see over these next few weeks against Italy and Ireland that they do struggle, that they may come out with a loss within those two matches, just because of the fact that they are a new side and they're not going to be perfect straight away. Dave Rennie hasn't had a lot of time to implement his what he wants within this team, so we cannot expect a perfect lot of performances over the next 3 weeks. But yeah, so that was a big talking point in that match, and it really was positive for both sides, but also there were negatives around France. They should have been able to push it further. I think they will be disappointed they didn't get a win here, but they also put it down to the fact that they didn't have some stars there as well. Okay, I will move on to the selection table, where I will talk about some selections within the All Blacks that have some either questions or positives from this weekend, but a lot of talking points were around selections with the All Blacks that have been from Dave Rennie's first selections and how they played after this weekend. So obviously the loose forward trio is a really competitive spot for the All Blacks at the moment, and they went with Lakai, Jacobson and Ardie Savea for this first match, and I thought it was a really good trio. Now, we know Lakai, he's a strong player, likes to gain a lot of meters over the gain line, and we know Ardie Savea is pretty much an all-round player, likes to make turnovers, tackles, makes a lot of tackles, and is a really strong ball carrier. So he's pretty much the best all-round player we can have in that loose forward jersey. and is obviously the captain as well. And then there's Luke Jacobson. And I've been thinking before this game, Luke Jacobson is possibly overrated. He's possibly not what the All Blacks want there. But after this weekend, I just saw the work he put in. And he's put in a lot of work for the Chiefs. This guy is a bit of a balancing act here. We know Lakai, he doesn't make as many tackles as other loose forwards. And Jacobson absolutely puts his marker down and makes up for that loss from Lakai, as he makes so many tackles and puts in so much work, doesn't miss many at all, and possibly gets on the other side of the referee at times, but his work ethic is so needed for the All Blacks. And we've seen in the past the All Blacks have always looked towards the players that can do the work. They will be backed with the jersey. And I think Luke Jacobson is the man for the All Blacks. And I think there will be changes coming into next weekend, as Italy aren't as strong, or didn't put as much into Japan as we thought they would. But they will definitely give us a good go anyway. But I think there will be changes anyway, because we don't lose much by swapping around those three loose forwards. So I think there will be a few changes. I think Wallace Titi or Parker will come in to start next weekend. But there will be a bit of a mix-up next week to see how well these combinations work. Unless Rennie wants these three to be the future loose forward trio forever and ever. Because I don't think that will be the case. But to start off, these three were actually quite a good balanced loose forward trio, and I really liked it. So I'm looking forward to how Rennie works these three. But then we've also got to move to the back three backs, the outside backs for the All Blacks. And Rennie backed Caleb Clark, Will Jordan and Dane McKenzie, and then Ruben Love was first five. Now, this could change, but I'm picking that Ruben Love and Dane McKenzie will be backed at 10 and 15 for the future, and Will Jordan will stick to the wing. I don't think that Will Jordan is fully fit at the moment, so he may get rotated out, but he is the guy, the playmaker that the All Blacks need, and the finisher, because he has such a good strike rate on the wing. He needs to be playing pretty much every match. On the other hand, on the other wing, we'll be looking to have Whittingham for Caleb Clark, and so many more of those wingers vying for that position. Because I know there are so many battlers. Leroy Carter, he is struggling to get into the team, and we have seen how good he is in that black jersey and that Chiefs jersey. So I cannot see how all those three players don't all play within these next two matches, because there will be rotations, and they need to give everyone a chance, because it's not fair if Leroy Carter is staying on the bench or staying out of the team for all three tests, despite being an in-form and incredibly good player. And I think Dave Rennie will not want to miss that option. Now, we've also got to talk about 10 and 15. Ruben Love and Dane McKenzie have been such big talking points over the past few weeks of how they will work. But I believe that Dave Rennie will stick with these two for the rest of the season, unless, or possibly when Richie Mo'unga comes in, he may fit in the side somewhere. Now, the questions come with this. This is a bit of a dual playmaking situation. Two players who are really about making things happen. But I feel Ruben Love's the most solid player, the most hard and solid to be number 10 because of the fact he's not as rigid as Dave McKenzie is. And yes, Dave McKenzie is incredible, but I believe he fits into the fullback role really well, and that's why I think he will be back there for the rest of this season in the All Blacks. So that's really where I'm looking with the All Blacks at the moment with their selections wise. But we'll move on now to the big question from the weekend, in my opinion, for this forecast focus episode, which is, are Australia back? Are they a team that can really contest and produce possible big matches and big results against those other big teams such as the All Blacks, South Africa, England, France, and Ireland? Are they a side that are going to produce big performances against those sides, or are Ireland considerably dropping in quality? We saw Ireland, they did actually vie for that Six Nations trophy, but they haven't seemed the same since that last Rugby World Cup. And whether that's due to the leadership within the side, or it's just the quality. We've seen quite a few big players missing for Ireland recently, but despite winning against Australia, they didn't look hugely dominant within the game. Australia, on the other hand, were incredible. I thought they have improved so much from the last World Cup, and they had a lot of balance within their side, and a lot of X factor dribbled all over the team list. Now, I really like Australia's loose forwards at the moment. They've got a lot of physicality, brute force that can get over that gain line. But then also their backs are pretty phenomenal. Ryan Lonergan is one of these. He has moved up another level in this past year with Super Rugby and now with Australia. This guy is something to be reckoned with. But he was brilliant. And that back line, I'm really liking the midfield. Ikitau and who else is there? It is Joseph Suaalii. And those two are physical. They can make so many breaks. And I thought their ball movement was so good within the backs. And it put the players on the wings, such as Jorgensen and the other really good informed players within that Australian side, and with a shot to score. I really enjoyed how they really put it to the Irish. But at the end, they were so in for the win. But Donaldson missed the penalty kick, which was a difficult one, which would seal it by 1 point. But it was an epic match. We saw Ireland really took it to the Australians physically and with that positional pressure. And that's how the Irish like to play their rugby. They like holding the ball. They're another sort of All Black sort of team, or South African team, that possibly aren't as dominant, but physically can beat teams and like to play the possession game, getting it down in the opposition half and being able to convert from there. On the other hand, Australia were really good with the X factor. They just couldn't get over the line, and that's what they've struggled to do often in recent times. They just need to do that, and once they're away, they're away. and I think they can really put pressure on France and Italy in these next two matches they have. France will be an interesting battle against Australia this coming weekend. Okay, so what is one thing everyone is missing in international rugby at the moment? And I believe it is that Japan are a force to be reckoned with. Yes, they're Japan. They're not renowned as one of the best rugby sides in the world. But what I saw against Italy, they really showed a lot of quality. Italy did not do a whole lot wrong. But Japan were able to use a lot of physicality and keep the possession of the ball. And that's so key in rugby. Possession is key. But you also have to put finishing touches on it. And Japan definitely did so. We saw a lot of pick and goes, a lot of hitting up through their forward pack. And I definitely saw some really exciting players, such as their number 10, Ito, who really impressed me within this match. I think Japan are going to be a niggly sort of side, just as Italy are. But after their win against Italy, I can definitely see them putting a bit of a performance against the Irish and the Japanese. Sorry, not the Japanese, the French. Now, Ireland are playing Japan on the weekend, and they're going to need a huge performance here, the Japanese, to pull up an upset. But I definitely think they've got something in their artillery, because they looked really impressive, especially at home. I really like them at home. And I think they are going to be a force that can go far within this international rugby circuit. Okay, what else have we seen this weekend? Well, I haven't even talked about South Africa playing England, which was talked about to be one of the best match to come within that round. And it was pretty exciting, but we saw what we kind of expected. South Africa dominated the game. They aren't letting down their name that they are world champions and they are the best in the world at the moment. South Africa are incredibly difficult to stop at home, and everyone knows that. But England just couldn't get in the game. There was a bit of ill discipline there, and that caused them not to be able to get ball time. And their tackling was off as well. And they were made to tackle a whole lot because South Africa just have that physicality and the ability to be able to put a lot of phases together. And that's where England have struggled within the Six Nations and international rugby recently to be able to organise their defence and be able to stick in the game. And ill discipline has been a big issue for them as well. Now, South Africa, we know, are the best in the world. They have such a good process, a good style of rugby that's so difficult to beat. We know how physical they are, how good they are at home, and how good they are protecting the ball. That's one of their key objectives within matches, is to keep the ball, and then they can use their big ball runners to be able to get over that gain line and put meters and put defences under pressure. And it's the shambles for other teams' defences when they've got those big ball runners running at them for 80 minutes. Now, these guys are going to be very difficult to stop within this Rugby Championship. Can they be beaten? That's the question. I don't even know if they can. It's especially at home. They are such a tough team to beat. And then a team that hasn't been playing at home, despite how they're meant to, is Fiji. With all their issues with money, they play their home games over in Europe. And they played Wales, Now, Fiji was so in this game. They should have won this game against Wales, but Wales were able to make up for the missed opportunities Fiji poorly missed. And Wales get their second win in a row in international rugby, and they were on a streak at home. So, first Italy, now Fiji. They could be a side on the comeback, and I really liked how they played that game. On the other hand, though, Fiji did not help themselves at all. They had so many opportunities and so many big moments that they just couldn't put the cherry on top. They had a lot of tries that were disallowed and a lot of big moments where they knocked the ball on or had a bit of ill discipline or threw a bad pass. It was just those little mistakes that are so key within rugby that Fiji just could not link together. So Fiji missed out on a big opportunity to get points within this Nations Championship. So they really miss a free hit against Wales, who did put on a big performance there. Now, also, a team that lost at home was Argentina, who lost against Scotland. So Scotland, they seemed pretty tidy within this match, and I think Scotland, they have been a pretty exciting team to watch recently, with the players such as Stain, who is such a good player under the high ball, and Hutchinson, their number 13, was absolutely brilliant. They just went to work, and their halfback White was pretty phenomenal as well. They just knew what they had to do, and they dug in. They used those outside channels well and executed in the second half so well. With set-piece domination over a strong Argentinian forward pack, Argentina didn't impress me, though. They didn't really impress me. They didn't look overly good. And it's disappointing because we often see them. They're such an exciting team when they're playing well, but at times they just, like this game, they just switch off, have a bit of poor discipline, and aren't able to score points. So that's where Argentina missed out against Scotland, and that's a big loss for them because they still have Wales and England at home, but it's no easy beats for the rest of this tournament. But we're definitely going to see some exciting matchups coming soon. And on that point, round 2 of the Nations Championship is right on the horizon. It's this coming weekend, and there is so many big matchups coming, which will be coming in the future as well. New Zealand are playing Italy, so that will be a big match for Italy and the All Blacks, who both need to show that they are in this tournament, because New Zealand, yes, they had a great start, but they also need to back this up, while Italy need to show some grit to get back at what was a poor start to their Nations Championship, while Australia play France. That's my match of the weekend. Australia, I believe, can beat France this weekend. France were good in moments against the All Blacks, but Australia are a force to be reckoned with in international rugby at the moment. I believe if they can put on consistent performances like they did against the Irish and push these teams deep. Now Japan are also playing Ireland. That could get interesting, but I believe Ireland will have too much depth there. Fiji will play England. That'll be interesting over in England, of course. South Africa are playing Scotland. Now that could be a test for South Africans, but it may also not. Who knows? If Scotland can bring what they did to Argentina, there could be some interesting matchups there. Well, Argentina are playing Wales. Could this be Wales' chance to put a statement out to the international rugby world? After what we saw last weekend, it definitely could be. With Argentina not looking hugely promising so far, we could see an absolutely incredible matchup there between those two sides. Okay, well, that's it from this Forecast Focus episode here, and we'll see you soon. I'll be bringing you a preview episode later in the week for this Nations Championship weekend, but there is a lot of rugby going on at the moment, and an exciting tournament to watch into if you haven't been watching. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you later.